Greetings, gamers. It is I, Gamer Monster, and today I don't really want to talk about War of the Visions, the game, as much as I want to talk about the developers, GUMI. But before we do that, I need to apologize because the Super Summon special video that I was planning on doing for all those free pulls, once again, I managed to mess that video up. Unlike my, commentary videos where I can, if something happens, I can just kind of re-record and everything. But summon videos, once the summons are done, they're done. And my little baby girl monster decided to have a meltdown right in the middle of when I was recording. So that kind of ended up being put to waste, but it's okay. I can say that I didn't have very many good pulls, other than some vision cards. I did get some dupes of some espers and all that kind of good stuff. But as far as units was concerned, really nothing. Out of all 15 pulls, I think I got only one new unit, which was Ziza, an older unit, and no dupes for any of the characters I'm building or anything like that. So it was kind of boring on that front. However, as you can see on the home screen here, I did finally get one of the Final Fantasy IV collab characters. I got Kain. It took me a little while. I was kind of doing some pulls off camera just because, dagnabbit, I wanted to get somebody. Rosa just refused to show up, but I did finally get Kain. Of course, now I'm super Visior poor, so I'm going through doing as many offer walls as I can to try and make up for the fact so I can actually get, Kain up to at least limit break 4. Yeah, I know. I am not exactly the wisest person when it comes to pulling for limited units. But I digress. Speaking of pulling, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. The whole fiasco that's been going around with GUMI. First on the JP side, on their anniversary banner, people were like, hey, things are rigged. GUMI came out and said, oh no, it was actually just a bug with the newest 3.0 version that they had received, and then that they would fix it. And it's like, okay. And they came out with that statement, and then almost immediately the Black Friday pulls for Global looked like they were rigged. If you pay attention to the War of the Visions community, you'll know that Dr. Diggs, a fellow YouTuber, is pretty big in the community, and he's the one who kind of came out and said, hey, something fishy's going on here. But he also then did some more research and kind of came to the conclusion that it wasn't really fishy as much as it was that GUMI messed up. As he put it, basically, they didn't make enough packs, so to speak, of random, in this case, units instead of cards, for the system to be able to generate enough randomness. And so people ended up getting very similar things. So it wasn't necessarily that it was rigged per se, but we're still looking at a pretty bad mess up on GUMI's part. And that's a real shame. Because they have, through all this, anybody who's been paying attention to the story has got to come away at least skeptical of GUMI and their actions. I know I was already kind of skeptical of the company because I had seen them basically destroy Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, the original, and the Alchemist Code by how they approach gacha games. Because a lot of this issue comes down to gachas and their mechanics and how companies approach how they get their income and their motivations and all that kind of thing. Randomness aside, a customer has got to feel confident that when they go to a summon banner and they hit that summon button, that they've got a decent chance of getting what it is they're looking for. If you can't do that, then it almost makes pulling kind of, it makes it feel bad. And that is actually one of the major issues, at least for me, that I've had with gacha games. Don't get me wrong, I love this genre. It could be, I like collecting things. I've always liked collecting things. And so collecting units and powering them up can be a lot of fun. I enjoy that. But nothing will kill my interest and my motivation in a game rather than pulling over and over and over again and not getting what I want. I mean, I understand that it's random, and I understand that they can't just let players basically, have whatever they want whenever they want, because you want that motivation. You want that motivation to pull, and honestly, they want that motivation for their players to spend. And I get that. But companies, gacha game companies, really take that too far. And then on top of that, they use a bunch of psychological manipulation in order to make us, feel bad first for not pulling, and then we get to feel bad when we do pull and get jack and all. GUMI is particularly bad about this. If we just look here at our banners, some of them are decent. You got this bonus included 10 times Sun. Hey, look, there's a bonus. However, then they have all the Final Fantasy IV limited characters displayed here until you realize that none of them has a rate up. It's a trap banner. Trap banners are awful and should never exist. Now you have your regular banners. These are actually decent. Sure, I think the rates could be better. But once they added in the UR gauge, these banners actually became halfway decent to pull on. But then the step ups with the guarantees, these are good. This is the kind of thing that you really need to have in gacha games, because it gives players, first off, a reason to pull, and heck, a reason to pull 5 times, because they know in the end, no matter what happens, they're going to get what they want. But then we run into banners like this and this, where it's paid only. This is the wrong kind of motivation to spend. Because not just because it's motivating people to spend, but because it's motivating people to spend a lot. When you start with even 1,000 paid Visior, if we take a look, any regular bundles aside, if we take a look at just the Visior costs, if my game will finish loading. Okay. There it goes. All right. In order to get that 1,000 lapis, you have to spend at least $13. And that's with the bonus packs. After you've done that, okay, you still get the 1,000 from the $13 pack, but just barely. And that's $13 for a small chance of getting what you want. And then you have to spend even more for the next step-ups to get to your guaranteed and everything. That's a lot of money for the privilege, so to speak, of gambling. And this is coming from someone who has spent a decent amount of money in this game. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm a far cry away from a whale, but, I've also spent more money on this game than I have on any other gacha, and more money than a full-fledged game costs. Heck, I could have bought probably 3 full games for what the amount of money I've spent in this, just for the chance of getting some characters. So in the end, we have to got it. I've been kind of going back and forth recently. What with the happenings with the banners and being unsure of whether or not the banners that I'm pulling on are going to be fair, to the fact that it took me way, way more pulls to get any of the characters that I wanted. I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys have been watching my videos. You know that until the Final Fantasy IV collaboration, I had extremely great luck getting the characters that I was looking for. And obviously that can't last forever. You're going to run into bad luck strings, but then again, then the question of, fair banners comes into play, and also the feel bad part of gachas really made me kind of question whether or not I was going to keep playing this game. Well, in the end, I kind of came to the conclusion that I was at before, that I think there's still fun to be had, collecting what units I can, but that it's time to stop giving GUMI my money. Especially when there are games out there like Genshin Impact, which give me a full-fledged gaming experience for free if I wanted. Many gacha games, including War of the Visions, really need to take the lesson that Genshin Impact has made and act accordingly. Give us games. We'll spend the money if it's a good game. Don't try to manipulate us into giving you more cash by making us feel bad. Instead, motivate us to spend money because when we do, we feel good. That's the proper way to go about things. If it wasn't for the fact that this game was a Final Fantasy tactics-based game, which is Final Fantasy is my favorite game series of all time, and tactics-style games are my favorite style of game. If it wasn't for that fact, I probably would have dropped this one. But I keep coming back to all those cool characters and leveling them up and watching them grow more powerful, and there is fun to be had there. I've spent my money, they've got my money, and it's time now that I just get to enjoy this game for what it has. Once the EX jobs come, if it ends up ruining things, I'll just stop playing. If it continues to be fun, I'll keep on. So what about all of y'all? Have you been following GUMI's shenanigans, the drama that's been going on? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think of this game? How do you think about its monetization? Monetization of gacha games in general. Any of that kind of stuff. Sound off. And let's start a conversation and really kind of figure out where we stand on these things. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. And as always, if you did, please leave me that big fat thumbs up, because that helps me with the algorithm. I'm super tiny and I need to grow. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you're new to come back for more. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time. Laters.